are going to go on a little journey. This could be fun, the way to end day 2 on a high note, and then we're going to get off to the drink. So for all of you, always thank you for sitting and being in this session. And I am ready to go. Oh, there we go. Hold on. What is the killer app? We're going to discuss this today. First of all, who am I? My name is Travis Wright. I wrote a book called Digital Sense back in 2017, all about business strategies, community building, why it's so important. I also host a show called the Bad Crypto Podcast. Been doing this for going on 8 years now. We've been doing this show. So one of the longest running crypto podcasts in the space. One of the first mentions of NFTs back in 2017, we were talking about CryptoKitties, which was fun. We've also minted over 1.5 million NFTs on the Wax ecosystem, and we advise a lot of different projects right there. Wrong slide, there we go. And who do we not advise? We don't advise any of those. I've not advised any one of them. And I don't know who the next one of those is, but we didn't advise those either, so you know. So what makes a killer app? For one, a killer app is going to change your behavior. It's a shift in the way people are doing things. It solves a problem we didn't know had a solution. And it surprises people when it arrives, but then it makes people go, wow, yeah, this is exactly what we needed. It's going to also create a whole new ecosystem, and it's going to drive the mass adoption of that technology. So as we go through the history of killer apps throughout time in the next 20 minutes, we're going to lead ourselves up to Web3, and I want you guys to be thinking, what is the Web3 killer app that you're going to build? What is that all about? So be thinking about that as we explore this. So let's go through some historical innovations. First of all, agriculture. This was a technology, and people just didn't stop and start planting stuff and say, I'm going to live here now. What was the killer app of agriculture? It was beer. It was. Basically, there was some hops and barley that was sitting in some water. It fermented. They drank it, and they're like, oh, my God, we're going to stay right here, guys. This is amazing. And we're going to plant all of this stuff. We're going to live here. And then what happened? They had all this surplus of all this agriculture stuff. And they're like, whoa, how do we count all of this? Oh, the abacus. Now they could start counting and figuring out these big numbers that were there. Then they're like, wait a second. There's so much stuff here. It's really hard to keep track of it all. Boom, here's the ledger system. The ledger system pops up and people can start keeping track. Now, what did this create? The killer app of the ledger system was credit and debt, right? You would have goldsmiths that popped up. You could deposit your gold to a goldsmith. They would give you a receipt and say, here's how much gold you have in my vault. What would happen then? Well, then people were trading these receipts back and forth, and the goldsmiths were like, wait a second. I got all this gold, and people aren't coming to get it all at once. Let me start creating more of these IOUs and create more paper than there actually was of real gold in the vault. So created fractional reserve banking. Then we come a little bit farther along, we got the printing press. Now what happened with the printing press? Printing press created mass literacy for everyone. You can have a book. You didn't have to have monks sitting and like writing the Bible down there. They could print it out. Boom. Everybody has access to this. What else did it create? Created the ability to create paper money, right? Easier trade and wealth transfers happen a lot easier once you have this. Then the telegraph happened. But what was the killer app of the telegraph? Like, what is that? Okay, what did he say? I don't know what that means. What was the killer app? Stock market updates. They could go, buy more Coca-Cola, right? So it sped up global finance in a way that had never happened before. Then you have the telephone. The telephone created mass communication, global communication. You'd pick up your phone, you'd hold the one thing, and then you'd talk, call number 9, please. And they would go out and, calling number 9. So somebody's phone number was 9, and you'd call them up. Hello, Betty. I bet her name was Betty. Then the radio. Radio happens. What was the killer app of radio? Killer app of radio was live entertainment, the news, and then broadcast, and all these variety shows Once these things started popping up, people are like, oh my God, I got to get a radio, right? Then from there, ENIAC. ENIAC was huge. The very first computer in a bigger room than this arena. Thing was so huge, and it was dumber than a calculator, right? But what was the killer app? The killer app was defense calculations. They could do war better. They could figure out exactly where we're going to strategically do things with war and go bomb people. So that was the killer app for ENIAC. Then television happens. I'm a big fan of the Beatles, but what was the very first killer app of television? It was sitcoms. Basically, they started seeing these shows coming to them, soap operas and sitcoms, and then people would be talking about it. Did you see I Love Lucy? Oh my God, that was so funny, ha ha ha. Boom, everybody wanted to get one of these now. I gotta get a TV. Credit cards, that popped up. The key thing of credit cards was, hey, you can buy now and you can pay later. They didn't even, you just had to have the card. They don't know how much debt you had on there. How much is it? How much you got? So this created the convenience of buying things with consequences, but it created that debt layer. Cryptography was one of the hugest ones. That's kind of why we're all here. Without a cryptography, we don't have what we have today with Web3. But the killer app of cryptography was securing secrets. It basically allowed for secure communication, made it more effective. Then the personal computer happened. There was big CEOs at the time saying, we don't need it. Who needs a computer? Ain't nobody need a computer, right? But they didn't realize the killer app was spreadsheets. Oh man, this revolutionized business operations. You could do so much stuff you could never do before. Not only spreadsheets popped out, but word processing popped out. The ability to write on the computer screen and then print it one time. Could you imagine having to type something out and then making a mistake? You got to start over and type. This saved people so much time. They go, oh my God, I got to get a computer. Then they had desktop publishing. That empowered creativity. I remember using this in grade school and helping lay out we were laying out our yearbook, which was pretty cool. And we used desktop publishing like this on an early Mac to do the newspaper, right? So people were starting to say, wow, these computers are awesome. Then there was the VCR and beta thing. Now this was really interesting because beta was much better technology than the VCR, but beta made a big problem. They had a big problem. What they did not do was make their tape size big enough. They made their tape size only enough for 1 hour of recording. And VCR says, whoa, we need at least 2 hours to be able to do movies. So home movies and being able to record was the killer app for that technology. Arcades. The killer app for arcades is not the fact that, you can go throw quarters in a machine and play. It was all about the high score. People are very competitive, right? They crave competition, so it was all about those three initials. Oh, who is DPJ? Oh my God, who is that? I gotta go put much quarters in so I can get the record again, right? And so people were just pouring quarters in because somebody else had the high score. Now we enter the intranet. The intranet has showed up. And if we see the evolution of the web, it really takes these three parts. The first part of the internet was you could read. You'd put something up on the website, you could go and you could read it. That's all you could do. Web 2, you could read it and you can write to it and you can say your opinions and you can publish. And now with Web 3, you can read, you can write, and now you can own those digital assets. That's why this is Web 3. So one of the biggest killer apps was the World Wide Web, clearly. The information superhighway, man. You can go anywhere and get information. It was amazing. And then you had the portals. AOL, Netscape allowed you to go there, type in, and then you'd have to go through their portal to get to the other places in the internet. And search engines. Search engines were a very key thing. Back in the day, there was like Dogpile and Alta Vista and Excite, and then Google came around and made it so much better. Like, wow, we can actually find information easily now. E-commerce. E-commerce is a thing unto itself, but I think the killer app was Amazon. Amazon patented that one click. So you can buy things with one click on Amazon, and Amazon has that patent and gave it to nobody else. No, you can't click and buy with one click. That's ours. What? How do you own that? Like, everybody should have the one click, right? Online payments, right? This right here is actually my card from 1999. It's the original X.com card that Elon Musk and his company created, and then they merged with PayPal, right? So that is the original X. That's why he went back to X.com, was because he's always loved X.com. And now you're bridging trust to these online transactions. Wikipedia was huge. Now you don't have to carry around those big books. Man, people used to go door to door selling those big books. Hey, would you like to buy the Encyclopedia Britannica? Here's volume A. Like, oh my God, this is huge. Like, wow, so much information. What about digital communication? Huge. Email. You can send an email, boom, quickly. So amazing. My first email was travis@rocketmail.com. That's how you can get a hold of me. And then I had a forward of twright@beer.com. So beer.com was my email for a while, which was nice. Instant messaging. How many people here had an AOL AIM account, right? Or had an ICQ? You guys remember ICQ, right? MSN, Live Messenger. So those were huge. You could talk to people instantly. It was so awesome. Forums. Forums were really big. I love forums. In fact, I'm a part of this forum today, still. 23 years I've been a part of this forum. 23 years. People come and people die. It's crazy. And there's all these rest in peace. Skip town, we're going to miss you, buddy. Like, whoa, it's crazy. Communities around collective interest was always huge. Then video calling came out with Skype. That was very big. Killer app. What about entertainment and media? Entertainment and media has driven the internet forward. Well, pornography, right? It was the key driver of technology starting off there back in the day. Like, it would take forever to download a photo. You're like, oh man, this photo is going to be so good when it gets done with its interpolation. I cannot wait to. Music sharing. Anybody here have Napster back in the day, right? Or any of those like LimeWire or anything like that, right? Oh my God. This was the most, I was like, I could get any song? What? Wow. And then you'd go out and you'd grab a song, and then with your 56K modem or your 28K modem, it would take 15 minutes to download a 4 megabyte song. I'm like, oh man, I cannot wait to listen to this song all night. But what was the killer app? The killer app was iTunes. Now you have all of these songs in your phone, on your computer. What are you going to do with them? Steve Jobs says, boom, the iPod. But the iPod wasn't the killer app. The killer app was iTunes, because now you could manage all of these songs effectively, right? It was badass. Then Web 2 pops up, social media, the global public square. One of the very first things I ever got on was WBS. It was worldwide broadcasting service, and you could chat with people all over the world, and my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God, we're connecting with people in a whole new way. This is amazing. Then blogs pop up. Everybody's a publisher now. Viral videos. You guys remember this guy? What is this? Evolution of dance? When YouTube came out and the bandwidth was good enough to publish videos, oh my God, that was a seismic shift in the future of the internet. This was the very first page idea of Twitter. Jack Dorsey was writing this down and said, we're going to create this status app so people can update it, and then everybody's sharing their opinions. Most of the people's opinions are not good, but you can share them. That's great. Love to hear more of your opinions. That's good. Photo sharing, another huge thing. From Kodak to Flickr to Instagram, killer app. Streaming TV, Netflix and chill. Being able to sit and, man, that was so amazing. Before you could get a DVD in the mail from Netflix, and now I could just turn on my TV and watch it. Like, technology has advanced so much, it's crazy. What about navigation and location? GPS. You used to have a map. Then MapQuest came out. MapQuest allows you to say where you're going to go, and then you could print it out. Now you got a printout of where you're going to go. So people are still driving with their printout, trying to figure out where the hell we're going. Now we got GPS, and we can put it right on our screen. So handy. Oh my God. I don't think I could get anywhere without GPS now. Mobile devices were huge. App stores were huge. Created a whole new economy with the App Store. And then, speaking of economies, Without GPS and without the app stores, we don't have the gig economy. And the gig economy in America has got 25, 30% of Americans are doing the gig economy in some way to make extra money. Cloud computing was also amazing. When Dropbox came out and I could upload a file and send the link to somebody and they could download it easily, that was brilliant. Oh my God, that changes the way we do things. So now those are all the technologies that lay the foundation of where we are today. Let's quickly go through these. Bitcoin. Bitcoin was a killer app of blockchain, right? Blockchain was built, but the real killer app was the fact that it eliminated double spending. Like with an MP3, I could send an MP3 to every one of you. Send that MP3 out, and you'd all get it, and you'd all grab a copy of it. But I cannot send the same $10 of Bitcoin to every one of you. They fixed that problem, and that was the huge killer app of Bitcoin, solving double spending. That created a whole shift in how things are done. Crypto wallets. That allows you to have sovereign control over your assets. That's huge. Smart contracts. The ability to create programmable money. If this, then this. Beautiful. Stable coins are really huge because they allow us to sell this token, keep that same value of it, but without losing. If Bitcoin goes down and you don't have a stable coin, well, then you lose your value. But if you get out of it in time, you can save your values. That stabilizes the market. That was genius. And DeFi, another great thing. We've talked about DeFi ad nauseum these last couple of days. Huge. The ability to bank without banks is so huge because a bank can just say, you know what? I don't want to do business with you. And your account's closed. What are you going to do? Yeah, well, you can't do that in DeFi, can you? NFTs and digital assets. For me, I think the NFT is kind of a poison term. I think NFTs are actually digital asset ownership, but that's DAO, so that's DAO, so that's already been taken. But they're digital assets, and we own them. And that's a killer app to be able to have that revolution of ownership. And I just mentioned the Decentralized Autonomous Organization, the DAOs, created a whole new governance model. And the initial coin offering, that was blockchain crowdfunding. That was huge. Meme coins. Community and culture drive value. Look at these as culture coins. And people want to be part of something fun. People want to feel part of a community. I'm really kind of surprised there's not more meme coins and that on Avalanche yet. There's an opportunity there for you probably. Privacy solutions. What about zero knowledge proof? The ability to do some transaction and still remain relatively anonymous and keep data secure. That's huge. Decentralized identity. Civic is a company that's been working on this for about 6 years now to create this. So this is my identity. I'll give you some data. I'll give you some data. I'm not giving you any data. Scaling. Oracles. Bringing that real world information onto the chain. Huge. Layer 2 solutions. Scaling blockchain. How huge was that? Because we don't want all these transactions to happen on the main L1. We need to layer on top of that. That created a good solution. And bridging and connecting ecosystems with interoperability. Interoperability of blockchains is huge, and we're going to start seeing more of that. Digital worlds, metaverse. That was big in the last narrative of the last cycle, but these digital worlds are huge. More and more people are getting AR and VR because we got these mixed reality devices now, right? Advanced computing, AI and machine learning. Oh my God, that has changed everything. ChatGPT is the best brainstorm buddy I've ever had. It's crazy what AI can do now, and we're just at the beginnings of it, right? Quantum computing is coming. Oh my God, don't even get me started on that. What about Avalanche 9000? It's a killer app, and you guys are going to be able to build on it. And that hackathon starts tomorrow. So the next killer app is for you to create. What can you do to shift it, to create a solution for a problem that people didn't know there was a solution for? How can you create a whole new ecosystem? And how can you drive technology of Avalanche and of the whole Web3 ecosystem? Well, maybe you could create an AI DAO that has, it's a decentralized AI of decentralized DAOs. Maybe you could create a health chain of decentralized health data. Maybe a vote chain. Dude, that would be awesome. Wouldn't it be great to have some way to track elections more effectively? Like, I don't trust election and voting machines at all. That's not on the chain. What about, I see this happening eventually, a stable X. These are my names, by the way. A decentralized stable coin 4X exchange, that could be huge. CoinResearch, that's a project that I'm working on, AI-driven crypto research platform. Also, Zoo Street is a cross-chain meme coin exchange we're working on. But there's a lot of different ideas that can be done out there, and when your team's project wins the hackathon in the next couple of days, we are going to be so proud of you. We know you can do it. Go out there and kick some ass doing that. So, love to connect with you guys. I am Travis Wright. My username is TW. You can see that most everywhere, TEEDUBYA. And I want to thank you for attending my session. You guys have a good one. Thank you.